Hey everybody, and welcome to my N5 series on the Akai MPC, where I cover a topic in about 5 minutes. I am rebooting because I've been trying to get Bluetooth to work between the MPC and the iPad. Sai wrote in asking if we can get the sequencer for basically get the MPC to run the sequencer on Scalar over here on the iPad, get that to sync with the MPC. And I was on MPC version 3, was having some problems, downgraded down to version 2, and still hitting some problems. So I am now just trying to get this madness to work at all and kind of reset some things. So I'm going into the MPC. I got to get Bluetooth settings going here. And to begin with, let's go back to settings. We'll go to Bluetooth, and we just need to get it so that we got to forget the device. I'm kind of doing a clean boot because they just don't want to talk to each other. It's searching. There we go. So it sees that it can pair with the iPad. We're going to hit this, hit pair, and we're going to see it pop up over here. We're just going to say pair because we don't know what numbers the MPC was sending. Now, I keep getting this failed to connect to your iPad. Please check the device and try again. Come over here and tap the button, and we're now connected. So I've tried this about 10 times, and I basically had to do a completely cold reboot of both devices to get them to work. So if you're having problems with them syncing, don't hesitate to turn off your MPC and your iPad. But we now have a connection between the two, which is the first important step. Now, we're going to come over here. I know it's a little bit hard to see on my screen. I'll see if I can move this up closer. If I get this really close to the screen, you should be able to read that it says MPC Live to Bluetooth. So we know that this is the Bluetooth we want for MIDI output and input. We want to be able to output here to the MPC Live 2 for Bluetooth. And what this is going to allow us to do is if we're on the main page here, when we come in, if we just set up a plugin, we can now do fun things with Scalar. If you're not familiar with Scalar, it allows you to generate chords that are in scale for multiple sources. So you could play some MIDI from the MPC. It'll detect what scale or scales you might be in, and then it can start suggesting chords that you can play that will sound harmonically useful to that. So I'm coming into a plugin, and you can see I'm able to tap on the screen, and it's sending the MIDI over Bluetooth to the Akai MPC, and sounds fine. I mean, I'm not going to worry about changing the plugin here. Now, the problem we're going to run into, though, is I want to hit play, and I want it to be able to play the sequence. Well, there's a couple of settings that you need to be aware of. One is you do need DAW sync on. That is a MIDI setting here on the iPad. Might be a little bit hard to see. I have it turned on. The problem is we don't have a DAW here running right now for Scalar to run within. So it doesn't matter what we do for transport controls. They're not going to get over to Scalar. In order to get that to work, I'm going to close and kill Scalar. I'm going to open up Audio Bus because Audio Bus will work and function as a DAW for us. So I'm going to hit OK, switch over to MIDI, and I think you have to pay extra for this, but we're going to go Input, and let's go pick Scalar 2. So what we're doing is we're basically going to use the Audio Bus as our host that will then tell Scalar 2 for the transport controls and DAW and all that. Now, I'm going to hit play, and it's still not working. Well, there's a couple of things we need to check on the MPC still. So we're going to go to Menu. I'm going to go to Preferences. Let's go to MIDI and Sync. So we're going to scroll all the way down. So we have our output ports. It says iPad Bluetooth. So we don't need track because we don't really need to send MIDI track data right now from the MPC over to Scalar. We just want to make sure or to Audio Bus. We just want to make sure we're sending sync data. Sync data will be our transport controls to start and stop, as well as our tempo. And if we scroll down, there is another setting down here. You want to make sure you have set, which is sync send. You want to make sure it's set to MIDI clock, and that will make sure that it is sending a MIDI clock signal from your MPC out to Scalar 2 or Audio Bus or AUM or whatever your controller or your DAW environment is over here. Now, with all that set, I now need to come back over to the iPad. I'm going to hit the little gear icon, and we need to go down here where it says sync settings. And you need to go MIDI clock sync, and you want to be able to, you have to come in and say in. So right now you can see it's got something selected, it's the UM1, which is actually a USB device, but I'm using Bluetooth now. So we're going to switch this to MPC Live to Bluetooth. And that's going to allow it to take a Bluetooth MIDI clock source from the MPC and then do all the controls to set up the tempo and all that fun stuff. So if I hit play here, actually let's go back to the main. I'm at 96 BPM down here, and if I hit play, we go from 88 BPM to 96. So we can see that now at least this host environment is getting that set up. Now the reason why we're not playing anything from Scalar right now is we don't have actually anything set up. So I'm just going to go click detect. Maybe I don't even need, yeah, we'll go scales. We're just going to skip detect. We're not detecting anything. We're going to go scales. Let's pick, it doesn't matter. We're going to pick C Dorian. And you can see I'm tapping here and we're not getting anything out to the MPC. Well, we got to go do these settings again, because when you're in the audio bus or AUM host, it does all of this stuff. It gets reset. So we're going to have to go to DAW sync, turn that on, go back to settings. We're going to need to now go scroll down to Bluetooth and MIDI settings. And we want to make sure that the MIDI output is, again, set to MPC Bluetooth. So I'm going to tap. Won't let me do that. Maybe audio bus. Oh, actually, we don't need to do this. Sorry, skip that part. We're going to hit the X. We're going to go here, and we want the audio output to go to system, and it's going to be the MPC Live is what we're going to select to go in the slot. There's so many little tiny things you got to remember here. I'll cover it again at the end of the video here. So if we hit play again, we should be able to come back to Scalar. There we go. Now I can take and drag some chord progressions down into a pattern. If I hit stop and then hit play, it's now going to start playing these patterns that are down on the bottom for chord progressions. And if you want it to keep repeating, you got to hit the loop button. So now you can see it's working its way through these chord progressions. It's looping back to the beginning and going over. So you can drag and drop whatever you'd like, set your voicing, set your scales, all that stuff, and you can use Scalar to do this work. Now, to go over one more time all of the settings, you need first a host that can send and receive, I mean, in this case, really receive MIDI transport controls. I'm using Audio Bus. I've also got AUM, and I'm sure AUM will work fine. Like Chord Gadget is able to take those transport controls, but I can't remember if Chord Gadget can host external stuff. So you're going to need to make sure you have something that will allow you to get MIDI clock and transport controls in. Now, as I said, I'm using Audio Bus here. Once you've got Scalar dropped into the first slot under the MIDI tab in Audio Bus, you then need to make sure you have an output. So I've just set this to the MPC Live. That gets us to the Bluetooth. So we got the sequences for whatever we want to play, Scalar here, and then the output of that content that Scalar is producing goes to MPC Live. Now, go into settings. We're going to go to sync settings, and you got to make sure you have your MIDI clock set to the MPC Live to Bluetooth if you're using that. If you're using like the Roland 1 or something, get that selected as well. With these settings set, you still need to go into Scalar. You need to go to the little gear icon here, and you need to go down to DAW sync and make sure that's turned on. With that set, now we need to come over back to the MPC. When we go to preferences, again, you want to come down to MIDI sync, and you're going to go down all the way down to where it says output ports. I've got a lot of extra stuff because I've got a USB adapter, but you should see once you have Bluetooth set up, or if you've got your, if you're just using your MPC MIDI jacks on the back, those will work fine too. But you really only need sync set up here. We don't need to send MIDI out to Audio Bus. We just need to send the clock and transport controls. And then don't forget, at the bottom here, you also need to make sure your sync send is set to MIDI clock. I believe with all of those settings set up and with the Bluetooth set up to sync between the two, this should work perfectly fine. Anyway, Sai, I know it took me a little while to get to this. I hope this helps you out. I hope this gets you set up between your MPC and using Scalar so that you can drag and drop stuff real quick and kind of set up your fun little chord progressions and things. But yeah, that it was a real chore to get all of these little tiny things set up. I hope I covered everything. If I didn't, or if you guys are having any problems, feel free to drop a comment in the description. I will do my best to try and get you an answer. Anyway, thanks guys. Thanks everyone. Keep stopping by, keep making music, keep having fun. Remember, if it sounds good, it is good. And peace.